Security agencies carrying out genocide in Southeast Igbo leaders. Speaking at a news conference in Abuja, chairman of the group, a former governor of Anambra State, Chief Chukwuemeka Eze-Ife, said dozens of young people, mostly male, are being extrajudicially executed on a daily basis by security operatives in the region. We condemn without any reservation the destruction of public properties in the southeast because it is not our character to indulge in arson, brigandage, he said. We believe, however, that it is not fair and just to use a sledgehammer to kill harmless flies. Security agencies now indiscriminately invade private homes at odd hours in the same guise of fishing out presumed IPOB and ESN members. They arrest men and sometimes shoot innocent and harmless youths. We therefore call on President Buhari, the United Nations, European Union, African Union, ECOWAS to take urgent and necessary action to stop the current genocide against the Igbos in the southeast and parts of the south-south, in the language they understand, Mr. President Buhari said earlier this month, and threatened to deal with IPOB in the language they understand, a statement that sparked angry reactions from Nigerians as it referenced Nigeria's bloody civil war, where millions of Igbos died during the civil war. Yeah, I mean, that's it, to be honest. I mean, do you know what? I think that this gives a sort of, how do I describe it? A round and a cyclical, coming together of society where we have the elders actually being, I mean, obviously he's a past, governor of Anambra State, but still, we have the elders actually coming out to condemn all these acts. Because again, the fact remains, shade or not, is because from the previous generations, there was never really any push towards change. That is why we are going through all this right now. So again, a lot is happening, but at this point, it's a harder fight. It's a harder fight than it would have been if the fight had started earlier, 30 years, 40 years earlier, when we call out a lot of things. I guess the excitement of being an independent nation, I don't know, was taken very seriously. I don't know, I can't give a reason for anything, but that is what it is. Again, this person, Igbo elder, came out, woke up and decided to speak facts. So yeah, who do we call on? Because again, I understand how, like, in certain situations like this, you feel helpless. But then again, it's like, what can the international community do to help? Because again, if you look at in history where the people call on international bodies to do something, it's very much more like, how do I describe it? It's nothing as effective happens. It's probably like lenient sort of condemnation, or some sort of, how do I describe it, like a sentence, oh, don't do that again, a slap on the wrist, and then that's all they can give. Yeah, it's a lot, because again, it's as Nigerians, we may feel like we have nothing else, but we have ourselves, and I guess that's the best that we can actually do. And of course, we have social media. Again, in this kind of world, it's impossible for them to be openly I mean, again, they've actually proven to do that. I mean, they've massacred a lot of people anyway. But I think, how far would they go? Because again, in this kind of world, it would just be it would be unwise for them to be openly, oppressing the people. It means that the community or the international community would actually have to step in, and that would be it. But then again, how bad does it have to get to that would then trigger the international community to step in and speak, or, use the power that they have, for example, these organizations, to the benefit of the Nigerian people? That's the thing. I think to just speed up the whole process, I think we need to go back to the constitution, in which people describe as a scam and as the most oppressive tool that is any upon a Nigerian. But I think we need to go back, because again, first of all, we can't sit back and watch this country go into pieces and then people tell us, oh, wait till 2023. That is absolutely bonkers. And also, this referendum of a thing, how does it work? Who is giving the referendum? When will it happen? Who will decide that? We need to work around the constitution to make it happen for ourselves. But then again, we can't work around something that was not created for us. So I don't know how I don't know how it's going to be tackled, but at least we know that we cannot be silent. That is what we know for sure, because our silence serves as an enabler for them to continue whatever they're doing. Somebody says, we have severely warned them on repercussions associated with their actions, but they refused. Instead, they were insulting, accusing, and abusing us, while most of the elders like you remained adamant, and today, here it is. So for me, you're just reaping what you sown. Okay. Someone says the security agencies in Nigeria are all weaklings. If you have to pick on innocent youths, rather than combing the forest to look for those they ought to look for and match them to battle. But wait, isn't it funny that northern Nigeria is almost being consumed by terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and all that, and doesn't bother them because a northerner is in power, only to think they're making a mockery of those trying to fight for freedom and safety. There's a proverb that says, a man whose house is on fire doesn't chase rats, but I've seen otherwise with these folks. Very sad. I guess this is now because I was looking for before, and other videos I've been looking for like a reason as to why, you know, protests do not go on in the north, or why the northern people are not as angry as they should be. Obviously you can't dictate how the person should react, but with the way things are going and how they're being abused every single day, you'd expect them to, you know, react. And it's sort of like as someone described, like a case of, you know, Stockholm syndrome. So this person now says, which has actually been a very popular view as to why the northerners do not necessarily, you know, fight for their rights or anything. He says, all these are going on, but it doesn't bother them because a northerner is in power. And I'm like, what is this bull crap? As in, a lot of people do say that you know, a northerner being in power could be the reason as to why a lot of northerners do not necessarily react or criticize, which does not make sense. Absolutely bonkers. Meaning that you would rather, at your own expense and at the expense of your future generations' lives, you will keep quiet just to make sure that your own is in power, but then you're not benefiting from anything. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. And it's like, it then reflects that, whoa, for things to change, that means the mentality is where it actually has to start from, is the mind. That's where the revolution really needs to take place. And yeah, it's gonna take a couple of generations to get out of that, because that is crazy thinking, in my opinion. And yeah, that is it. I mean, for us to lead this physical revolution and as united as we can be, that mental revolution has to start first. That is why a lot of other tribes are not patient, and they're like, why do I have to wait for you to realize you're being oppressed? Why do I have to wait for you to get there? I want to move on. And tribes want to do that. And I think what I'm going to end with is that the Nigerian government cannot hold people against their own will. You're holding them hostage. They want to go. What is that called? I've always said it all the time. What is it called? You know the word. Fill in the blank. Put what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe.